Hey, welcome to Soundings with Sash. That was quite the transition, right? The electronic music to the kind of cool holiday jazzy music. So I'm really excited tonight. We are going to do another dating show, talking about dating in our 40s to 70s and talking about dating around the holidays and how sometimes that can be a challenge, or sometimes some of us just don't do it at all, or some of us don't really know how to navigate that. What do you do around the holidays? Because you have a lot of family events, etc. Do you invite somebody you've only went out on a couple dates with? I mean, how do you do all that? So I'm really excited because we have a panel of people that are dating and a relationship coach that can help navigate us. And I'm really excited to bring them on. So I'm going to bring on our relationship coach, Barry. Hello, Barry.
Hi.
Hey, so question. Do you
Mhm.
get this a lot as a question on what to do around the holidays with family events and new dating things?
Well, I do talk about it on my podcast. Excuse me, on
Okay.
one of my podcasts. Actually, I was two, just to be crazy about it. I've had conversations informally, yes, but I don't know clients reaching out directly to me because most of them don't seem to really lean into the advice as easily. However,
Okay.
I have had the question come up, and I'm sure we'll have it come up tonight in the show about best practices, whether you should, whether you shouldn't, if you are, how all that stuff. So yeah, it'll be fun.
Yes. Great. Awesome. Well, thank you. And I'm going to bring on our panel and I'm going to introduce them each as they come on, or they're going to introduce themselves. So first off, we have, hello.
Hi.
Heather. Introduce yourself. Tell us something about you.
My name is Heather Dawn. I am known as the Motivational Mentor, which is the name of my podcast. So you can find that on Spotify. And I am single, but sometimes dating, not often by choice. And I just love being on these shows because I love the different perspectives that men and women have.
Great. Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. And next, I'm going to add on Deanna. So Deanna, tell us something about yourself.
Let's see. I am single as of June 1st of this year after a 6.5-year dating relationship. So didn't think I was going to be thrown back in the ocean, but I was. So I'm navigating like everybody else.
Like everybody else. You're swimming.
Yeah.
All right. Hold on one second. Let's add our next person on our panel on. And Kurt.
Hey everybody, Kurt Bailey here. I'm single. I'm a widower. I'm going to be a widower 3 years, right after the first of the year on January 24th. So kind of a little bit different perspective on that. But yes, single, not by not by choice, but I guess by chance. There you go.
Right. And we might have another person joining us shortly. But thank you guys for joining us tonight. And I know it's the week of Christmas or whatever you're celebrating, if it's Hanukkah, Christmas. But, I want to know your perspectives on this time of the year. Does it get nostalgic? Do you, I know myself personally, I kind of go through a little, I wouldn't call it a depression, but I would say it was a feelings of nostalgia, of going back, of, my kids and being in a marriage and, what that was like versus what it is now. And I think that goes with anybody that even has grown children, adult children. I think we go through that. So, is that, Barry, do you find that to be a common thing for people?
I would say that if your circumstances have changed since the last time you had celebrated the holidays, it can be definitely challenging the first time out. So that's bottom line, everybody. Depending on your situation, I mean, my general advice as a real basic bottom line is don't start something during Christmas. That's just for me. It's like because of Christmas being such a elevated state of celebration, ideally, of merriment and everything else. If you meet somebody in that state and then it gets January 1st, it can be a little bit of a letdown. So yes, have fun during the holidays, but to sort of meet someone you think they're the one because you met them on Christmas Day, not good advice.
Right. Right. Hi, Bruce. Thanks for joining. Sorry, I just
Hi.
added you in there. I saw that
No
you had
worries.
come in.
No worries. No worries.
I stuck him in the green room. He was
That's
getting all
cool.
the green on
I'm
there.
used to that. I'm used to that. I'm Bruce Haley. I'm a professional musician in Kansas City. I'm retired from my day job. I am single by choice. Heather and Sandy can take a nap because they already know the backstory. They could write the screenplay to the miniseries about my love life, at least from the last 3 or 4 years anyway. Kidding aside, I am very much single by choice because I am very much intent on undergoing a lot of spiritual and internal work on myself, not just on my love life and where dating and relationships are concerned, but just my life in general. I have a plate full of unfinished business. That is my life. So I'm not bored.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for adding that.
And I'm just glad to be here.
Great. Thank you for coming. So Heather, what in the past when you were single and dating, did you date around the holidays or no?
I mean, last year I met someone in October, so kind of beginning of the holiday season. So I kind of dated through that. Before that, not really. Mainly because, as you know, my story with my mom passed away Christmas Day. So this time of year is not my best mood.
Ow.
So I like to just kind of take this time from honestly, from Thanksgiving to New Year's to kind of just reflect and be by myself and be with my kids. And I think that I just know it takes all of my energy to stay. I posted today about keeping myself at the top of that downward slope, right? So I think for me, it's like this time of year, I just have to really focus on that and making sure that there's a lot of positive going on. And for me, dating has not been super positive, so I just don't add it in. I spend a lot of time with my friends and my family this time of year, more than dating, I think.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Deanna, what about you? You haven't been through a holiday season yet, have you? This is your first holiday season.
It is. I chose at Thanksgiving to spend time in my church. I was there for about 7 or 8 hours cooking and preparing food for about 35 people. So did it for the last 6.5 years. So it was a huge shift for me this year. And typically the week after Christmas, we were traveling. So, but I'm going to have my kids with me this Christmas. You know, my kids are still young adults, so I'm good. I've done a lot of healing and growth in the last 7 months, and my focus is on my relationship with God, and I'm just relying on Him to show me who that person is, and just trying to be patient.
Awesome. That's great. Thank you for sharing. And Kurt, what about you?
I think a lot of times it's kind of about establishing a new reality. I mean, we have a romanticized view, if you will, of the holidays. Of course, we're not all going to grandmother's house, in a sleigh. I mean, there's things like that are just, unrealistic to start with. But for example, thinking back to Thanksgiving, and being a widower, again, that's my perspective. A lot of people were like, well, what are you doing on Thanksgiving? And I said, I'm going to be on Thanksgiving. I'm going to be packing and getting ready to fly to Denver on Friday because my oldest son, daughter-in-law, and my granddaughter have just moved out of California to Boulder. So, and I was going to fly on Friday. I mean, and I felt no need to, and same thing. I had told my kids, look, I'm not coming out there for a turkey dinner, coming out to spend time with each other. So, I felt no compulsion to fly the day before Thanksgiving and all the horrible nightmare, scenarios at the airport. I spent Thursday packing and getting ready to go, and Friday was just a really low key, low stress trip through the airport from Norfolk to Chicago and then out to Denver. So and I think, and I can talk about it later. Christmas is going to kind of be the same way, and I think a lot of times it's just kind of adjusting your reality off those like standards. I'll be home for Christmas. Okay, maybe you'll be home the next day or the day after. 2 days later. That's all good too.
Right.
So
Right.
I think for me and just my life in general, it's about setting up I don't know, new, maybe not traditions, but just a new way of going about things. And a lot of times it turns out it's a lot less stressful than the old way. So
Right. What about you, Bruce?
Regarding Christmas,
Yeah.
I'm going to be playing it by ear, really, to tell you the truth. I'm not going to be doing a great deal. Spencer, my son, who lives with me, I strongly suspect will be with his girlfriend and her family, which is more than fine. I have no idea what my brother is doing, but my sister, who lives here in Kansas City, is traveling to Boise to be with our other sister and her family and their clan. So, be perfectly honest, Christmas is really just going to kind of be another day, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. I'm actually comfortable with that. It's, I don't feel like I'm missing out. It's kind of the same experience as when you're a musician and you have a weekend night off and you have the opportunity to stay home. You realize you're not missing a thing. Actually, you're really, it's easy to suffer from that fear of missing out. Only I'm not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. I'm good with that.
Yeah. Good. And what about you, Barry?
Actually, I was going to say one thing for Bruce. There's a new one out there. So you got FOMO, if you're missing out. There's also JOMO, with the joy of missing out.
Can I use that?
Oh, I love that.
Copyrighted, is it? Can I borrow that?
I got it from somebody else, so feel free.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. Noted.
So for myself, though, Christmas. I mean, when I growing up in my family, Christmas was just like presents. It wasn't a big tree. We didn't do a lot of decorations when I was growing up. So I never had the embedding of Christmas must be this way. And in fact, I had experience of Christmas with a girlfriend many years ago. We went to Sun Valley, Idaho for a family Christmas. It was like the tree, the fireplace outside. It was like a picturesque thing. It was new to me at that point. So I had that experience once, and that was frankly, it was okay. Once is enough. It didn't need to do it every year.
Right.
So my Christmas nowadays, the last few years, is because I don't have a family over here, is I get together with friends. If I'm single, which I have been for the last few years, is I get together with friends and we go out to the movies and have dinner. We just have a nice social, global time, and it's also great on Christmas Day because generally the theaters aren't that crowded. So any new movies that come out, good time to go out.
Yeah, sure.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, the holidays are a great thing, and it's a wonderful thing to be able to celebrate if you have the opportunity to do so. But again, it's not a crime if you don't.
No.
You're not obligated. That's the great thing about it.
But I think that's where it comes. Is there's an expectation. I think people do fantasize about the expectation of what it's supposed to look like. Versus the reality. And that's where anybody gets disappointed around the holidays, is because they expected this, wonderful, family gathering, blah, blah, blah. And then the next thing somebody's not there, or, there's a disagreement.
Right.
You just don't ever know, and I think we all can fall into that. But being single, my question is really, do you date or don't you date? And this year I decided, you know what, I'm still going to go on a couple of dates before Christmas because it has no, I'm still going to do that. Probably watched a little too many Hallmark Christmas movies this year. Yes,
That part right there.
yes.
The
I'm looking for
lumberjack.
my lumberjack. I keep looking for the lumberjack. He's
Exactly.
not. I haven't found. I even went to Tennessee and I did not find my lumberjack there. Just saying. If I didn't find him in Tennessee, I don't know.
You should try Idaho. That's really that's where the trees are, Sandy.
Yep.
I mean, you know.
Well, I mean, I almost went to Paula Dean's lumberjack feud show. I mean, I knew I was going to see a lumberjack then for sure, but you know.
Sandy, I'll put you in touch with my sister in Boise. She's connected.
Right.
If there is such a thing, she'll know where it is. I promise.
I might not even like a lumberjack. I don't know.
Fair enough.
Lumberjack is their type.
So I mean, the Christmas Hallmark
Don't
movies
destroy the fantasy.
set you up.
Heather.
I mean,
Okay?
they set you up,
No.
and I watched way too many of them this year. I never do. And for some reason, I was stuck in Kansas watching TV, watching Hallmark movies.
There you go. That's
I
why.
don't know what happened. But then I was like, man, you know, but it always, you know, I mean, you know, it's not for real. So,
Right.
Yeah, there was a great I wouldn't even call it a meme, but a short video on the Hallmark movies where it was you know, there was small town boy and then big city girl walks up to you know, and it just went on and on through the but you know what, if I could say something about dating, and look, I'm no expert on dating to start with. I was trying to remember when we did the last show, and
March.
in March, yeah. And since then, you know, I was able to sell our house in Virginia Beach, my wife and my's house, and, you know, go through a year and a half of downsizing and move over to my new house that I bought over on the eastern shore of Maryland, which has been really fantastic. And I've been here 6 months, and that was just a huge shift, like physically, mentally, spiritually. Deanna, I stayed at my same church, which was important. I drive back over to Virginia Beach every Sunday to do that. But when I was thinking back to that last show, I don't know if I had dated at all. And hooray, I have had a couple of dates, you know, no, not the, you know, a couple of dates since I moved over here. And, you know, I found something interesting. In a way, the holidays for me, because like I said, I'm trying to set up a different version, you know, the holidays. Deanna, because Christmas Eve is on Sunday this year, our church is having 4 services. So I'm going to serve at 2 of them, and then I'm going to go home. And then basically that's going to be it. And Bruce, that's okay too, you know. But it turns out I did see a little bit of opportunity in the holidays as far as dating. And for one thing, there's tons of events, you know, and I really got kind of on a roll and was able to see several events. I saw 2 symphony orchestra presentations, different ones. I went to a play. Now, I didn't have dates for all of those, but I did for one. And it was for the symphony. And it was an outstanding evening. You know, we both decided to really just get dressed up. I had kind of a VIP thing there because is where I established my wife's scholarship. So yeah, you get a couple perks, you know. But just the idea that there's some good events and a wide variety of events. You know, I found that, you know, that was kind of an advantage, you know. And
Okay.
as it turned out, the young lady that I took to the symphony, she had never been before. She had never been to a, and I didn't know that. I didn't know this beforehand. And it was VSO doing Handel's Messiah, and they did have an intermission in it. And when the intermission came around, she said, "You know what? This is really amazing. I have never been to see a symphony, you know."
Nice.
So I was like, yeah, all right. You for the win, and so I think the holidays, it can be, you can turn it, if you will, into a little bit of an advantage, just because there's such a wide variety of events going on, and so yeah.
So I mean, would any of you invite somebody that you only dated 2-3 times to anything family wise?
I don't have family.
I think that's too early.
No.
I think that's too soon.
Yeah.
In those Hallmark movies, it doesn't work like that. Just saying.
I know, right?
No.
They always invite them. What are you talking about?
Well, it only works there because they have so many X number of commercials that they have to shove into that 1 or 2 hour period. So they got
to, if they're your fake boyfriend. That's the only.
That's what I was going to say. If I had any family, I was going to be a boyfriend.
Well, you're inside the beautifully decorated barn with 3/4 of the small town there, and everybody is just so damn friendly. I mean, of course you would take your date to something like.
Well, yeah, because he was either the florist, the baker, or the guy that's going to buy it out, and
or the lumberjack.
Don't forget the lumberjack.
Exactly.
So that's the fantasy land, but yeah, I mean. I thought about it. I mean, I thought about taking somebody to a couple, things that were family-ish, like all our family was going out. I mean, I don't find that it was going to be a bad thing. It wasn't like I was introducing them to my family as my partner,
Sure.
So, I think it just depends on the person and your family. Is what I think it depends on.
That's very true.
And the circumstances, certainly.
Yeah.
But one of the things I want to add to this, though, is that there's some sort of stigma that it's not okay to go out on your own.
Sure.
To go to the movies, to go to dinner, to go to a show.
Sure.
To actually go out to events that you choose to go to, or just go with friends, because there are other friends who may be footloose or, not sure what they're going to do either. You can get, just create a collaborative thing where you just go with friends to something. There doesn't have to be a romantic overtone to what you do at home,
Right.
Well, and I found that other people seem to be more worried that I'm home alone on Christmas than I am.
Right.
Now my kids are grown, they go to their dads for Christmas, and I usually wear my pajamas all day and watch stupid Hallmark movies, and I'm fine. Everybody else is just like, oh, you can't be alone. Why? I have JOMO.
Yeah.
Heather, my oldest sister here in Kansas City, always frets over the idea of me being alone. It's like, sis, don't worry about it, man. I'm not.
Right.
It's okay. It really is okay.
But there really are some people that do get kind of blue. I mean,
sure.
I mean that is a for real thing. And Barry, what would you suggest to that person if they're watching? What should they do if they start to feel themselves going in that direction?
Well, probably stop watching Hallmark movies for a start.
Okay, show over. Perfect. Good night, everyone.
The challenge, a lot of us, we set up circumstances, and also we've been trained by what we watch on TV and movies that Christmas should be a certain way, which is all the traps you fall into. So if you're starting to feel that way, notice that what's, basically you can discover what's causing it, which oftentimes is maybe memories of when you were a kid, which is one thing, which is wonderful, or a sense that you should be doing something that you're not doing, which again, the joy of missing out. Do something different. Frankly, spending Christmas Day for some people, where like Bruce was saying, where it's not having to work on a weekend, you can just hang out and relax, is a gift. In which case, to think you should be doing something because that's what the rules say, because that's the way we do it. We've got rules up here.
We're programmed.
Yeah, we can choose something different. So PJs that work around the house, great,
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, I would say, now my wife and I, we had a very set routine for the holidays, which involved going to California, going to her aunt and uncle's for dinner on Christmas Eve, going to their church, coming back, having, dessert and gifts. And we did that for 30 years plus a couple, but when you think about the kind of construct that you're thinking about in your mind, even like say with your wife and your kids being all together for Christmas. Well, my kids are age 35 and 31, and I live here in Virginia. One lives in Colorado, the other's in California. So that wouldn't happen anyway. I mean, that construct, ran its course of its own natural, design. As far as, my spouse not being here. Now that's another thing. But I found that somehow going to the 3-year mark, I've wanted to celebrate, Christmas this year. And, I sent out some cards. I did a little decorating. And then I did something that was totally different. I decided to give something, 3 paintings that I actually had that I wasn't going to put up here. They're actually works of art done by somebody my whole family knows. And I decided to give one each to each one of my 3 siblings. And that was something just totally different. And let me just tell you this, if you ever go to UPS and you're going to ship paintings, from Virginia to California, I was committed to the whole thing. So, but it was a big swallow. But luckily one in Pittsburgh. But you know what? And my siblings and I haven't always been as close. Like over the years, I will have to say that I was married, and there's a lot of different reasons for that.
Well, as we transition, I mean, I feel like transitioning from the kids being adults, or you have no, I mean, I'm a fairly new empty nester kind of ish, and I know Heather, you are too, and Deanna, you haven't yet, and it's a different challenge, you have to recreate it, like you're saying, Kurt. Right. You have to reconstruct it. But I think, Barry, and you talk about this a lot in your other shows, is about that self-love piece and being happy in yourself and being accepting of who you are alone. I think that's a place.
One of the things is also some people conflate lonely with being alone, and they're not the same thing.
Correct.
So that's what I said about going and taking yourself out. To go out for dinner on your own, go to a movie on your own, can be fun to do. Because first of all, there isn't somebody annoying you in the theater, talking your ear off while you're watching the movie, or chewing with their mouth open. Seriously. So you can literally use it like, I'm going to go on my own because I can do my own thing my own way, leave when I want, arrive when I want. There's a certain freedom to choosing that. But people get lonely because they feel like they need somebody with a trap to make them feel better.
Sure.
And one of the things that was somebody was saying, which one was the other part also is, and some of you mentioned about being an empty nester. Some people choose relationship where they drop everything else around them, all their friendships go away. And the thing is, that's one of the traps we fall into. We become so engrossed in our relationship, we ignore our friendships, and then 5 months, 20 years later, we wonder where our friends have gone. So if you're in a relationship, you're watching this talk, definitely make sure you cultivate your friendships as well, because that relationship, wouldn't I say it will, but it will at some point, because you'll end in, end of life or divorce or whatever it happens. It'd be nice to have people around you can lean on or connect with, rather than have to start from scratch again afterwards.
Yeah.
So it's worth having good relationships around you that are friendships, because yes, at Christmas time, if you're alone, you can hang out with them, or even get, invited to their celebrations as well. So it's worth keeping your social circle strong.
Barry, if I may expound on that, what you just said there for a moment, my brief editorial moment. You be nice, Sandy. Kidding aside, I think Sandy and Heather could corroborate this because they know me personally from Kansas City, that I have, speaking for myself only, I have been blessed with a city, and I'm not exaggerating this, a city of people who I have made friends with as a result of the mutual musical communities that I'm either a part of or I know people who are a part of. This massive support mechanism of people. I can be around people and not be lonely, not be alone, if you will.
Right.
Pretty much anytime I want. And I realize that not everybody enjoys that luxury. I completely recognize it. But the point that I'm getting at is by recognizing that, it makes me appreciate it all that much more.
Nice.
So if I am taking up with somebody as a partner, they're, I'm, like I said, I'm by purpose and by choice. I am single because I feel like, as I told Sandy and Heather both in separate conversations, I feel like I'm learning it all over again because in some ways I kind of am, and that's okay too. That's not a crime. I've kind of been out of the loop, I guess. I'm not as well versed at it as I thought I was. But in the meantime, I know a lot of people. I have a lot of truly good friends who support me and who I support back, and that is a fantastic thing to have. And a great feather to have in one's cap, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. I've been single 5 years, and my fear now, being honest here, is that I'm fearing that I'm getting stuck in liking being alone.
Yeah.
Liking my own company, and
that can be a double-edged sword. Sure.
Like you were saying, Barry, liking, not having to worry about somebody sitting next to me chomping their popcorn during the movie. And I don't want to punch them,
Yeah.
Well, that is the thing. You may have to adjust yourself to accommodate somebody else's foibles too. So, it works both ways.
Right. So, I'm kind of getting comfortable. I travel back and forth all the time by myself, and people are like, how do you do that by yourself? And I'm like, I like it. I sing to the top of my lungs and nobody hears me but me. And, so I'm getting in this like little zone where I'm like, am I getting too comfortable being alone?
I would say, well, the fact you're being aware of it means you're not, first of all, to want to say that. Because the fact you're like, am I getting too comfortable is a good question, because the thing is, people get so comfortable in their ways 10 years after they didn't realize they were doing it, sort of thing. So I strongly suspect where you're in a place like, you're enjoying your company, and if somebody shows up, you can walk into that space with a lot more freedom and ownership of your own beingness. Yeah. Because that thing, you're not going, well, I'll be happier when this person shows up, which is the trap many people fall into.
Destination syndrome.
Yeah. And also the codependency experience too.
Yeah. And so that was partially my issues with picking the wrong partners, is because I was codependent. And so me unlatching from the codependency and getting to like, hey, I like me, I like who I am, what I'm doing, etc. I don't need somebody. It is making me much pickier for a partner. I have to admit that it's helped me because I used to just like the person that liked me, if that makes any sense. Like, if you liked me, I was like, well, they're good enough.
Yes. Right.
Like, moving on. And
I could do that right now.
You're in a relationship because you nonstop together, right? And so, that's how I went about my relationships. And now I've had to retrain myself to be like, whoa, wait a minute. Do I really like that person? Can I see myself with that person? I accept everyone. I'm so open book, and like, I like everyone and can find something relatable with everyone, but that doesn't mean that that's good. It doesn't mean that person is my partner. And it's been really funny to like have that recognition,
Well, the thing is, what you're doing by choosing to take your own relationship with yourself more importantly, so to speak, is that then anybody shows up in your life who doesn't add to that, you're like, bye. Because you know that they're going to be additive to what you already have, because you value who you are. And so anybody shows up to play and join in a relationship with you has to, one, they got to honor it, but two, they also have to be somebody that adds value to what you already have.
Yep.
That's right.
Thank you.
They need to be the bonus about, like, on that. Heather, what you were going to say?
The last couple times that I've been talking to people or whatever, and I kind of say that, like, I just don't think you're what I'm looking for, or we don't align or whatever. And the new thing is now, well, let me just take you to dinner so we can see. Why do you need to spend money on me for me to tell you after dinner the same thing I'm telling you? And that's exactly what has happened. except we leave dinner arguing because everything I knew that wasn't going to work
Yeah.
played out over dinner. And
Yeah.
it's like, so you just spent $60 to hear the same thing I told you before dinner.
60.
It's not going to change it.
Yeah, that's not a lot.
Heather, you're a very good chess player. You're a very good chess player.
Yeah.
I
I was going to say when we were all younger and we were getting married, probably most of us, and we all had, the friend, that didn't get married, right? And then, maybe 5 years go by, and then, then maybe 10, and that person would even communicate to you, oh, I've just gotten so set in my ways now, I really, I do think that even back then, and again, even now, there's no doubt that the more time that, that goes by, the harder it might be to, enter into that process.
Sure.
I don't want to get that way. Okay. And that's something that I tell myself. I'm like not going gently against that good night,
Right. Quietly into the night. Yeah.
I do. Yeah. I don't, I still want to, believe in even like romantic love and,
why not?
Sure.
Yes.
It's
and
the best.
but actually believe that it might possibly happen. And I'll tell you, it takes work pursuing that, if you will. It's actually taking up more of my time right now
Sure.
than it should. I'm like, why am I not getting these other things done?
Good on you, Kurt.
And I would say this, I realized something, Barry, in retrospect, because, I had a long-term marriage. I don't think a lot of people have that, and had raised 2 kids and, I was primary breadwinner and, in a sense, I gave up things to do that. That's exactly what I wanted to do, and that's why I did it. But I think sometimes now, married 35 years, single 3 years, I kind of look back and it's almost like a box of amnesia in a way. I'm like looking at Netflix and seeing all these movies from the 90s, and I'm like, why didn't I see those? Oh yeah, because the only movies I saw were rated G or PG, because and I remember friends of mine asked me, "Did you see this movie?" And I'm like, "Get out of here!" So kind of looking back and realizing it was, in a way, it's kind of like living a life in a box, in a sense. I mean, I'm glad I did it, but it's interesting because, and my counselor really helped me with this. As the years go by, and this is what you alluded to, you stop looking outside for affirmation. If you're like me, you're already married to your best friend in the whole world. So, I had friends, but, you're relying on that one person for physical relationship and about a dozen other things that have just kind of all happened one at a time. If you're lucky, if you have a good marriage.
Yeah.
But what my counselor helped me understand, that when you lose that person, if you lose that person, God forbid that you do, you just lost all those things.
Yeah.
You didn't just lose a person, you lost like a dozen things that are really important to any person in their life. We all want affirmation. We all want love. We all want respect, and so it's pretty, it is more than a notion. I don't know if I'm looking for 13 different people,
right?
For one thing each, and I wouldn't, and would I look for one person to like take care of all those things again? Probably not. No.
What Sandy said, though, I want to, because Sandy was about what I talk about a lot in my work is that self-relationship, like self-love and self-care. We sometimes do shop around for partners to give that stuff to us versus doing it for ourselves. And yes, especially after a long-term relationship, we've become so reliant and so comfortable in that place that when it's taken away, it could take a while to adjust back to doing it for ourselves. But the truth is,
Absolutely.
fill ourselves up.
My heart goes out to you, Kurt. It
Yes,
really
I-
does.
It's okay. I'm you know what? I'm good. This year I'm really good.
Good.
And
Yeah.
that's something I'm excited
things like
about.
filling up your own cup first, so to speak. So you're not going
Yeah.
around with an empty cup looking to be filled up by somebody else or somebody's else. Because the thing is, a lot of things, yes, it's great to have a partner who does those things for you. And most of those things we can give ourselves. Obviously, the physical comfort requires another body, ideally. But there's other things too. Clear.
I do.
Okay.
Sorry.
Why did I start there?
got away from me there. My bad.
Or not. Oh my gosh. Yes.
Okay, changing the subject. Okay, yeah.
Good job, Barry.
So leave it to
I
the
mean-
musician.
I'm
I
sorry.
mean that's the part that's difficult, I think. I mean honestly, I went to Smithfield, Virginia this past weekend and they had mistletoes hanging everywhere. And I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I don't have anybody to kiss on the mistletoe. I mean, honestly, like those are the places that you're like, oh, like, oh, I miss that person. I mean, I could have probably grabbed somebody random, but no,
Yeah.
that wouldn't have been good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, mistletoe is a parasite, right?
It is.
And
Yes.
a poison too.
Absolutely.
Oh, great.
There's a symbolic undertone to kissing under it, then it sounds like.
Sorry, Hallmark.
Yeah, right.
What are you guys talking about? I don't
Mistletoe
understand.
is poisonous.
It is a poisonous plant.
Poisonous.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Well, you're
and
not
it's-
kissing the mistletoe. I mean,
Well, no.
And it's actually a parasite.
But kissing under a parasitic poisonous plant.
There's a symbolism there.
yeah. Why do we? Yeah.
It's just like Ulysses in the Sirens, man. Come on, dial me to the rocks, man. No, you can't go to the rocks. Stay away.
I mean, I thought about that, but then I thought to myself, have I ever kissed anybody under the mistletoe? Like any, my spouses? I'm like, no, I don't think we really did that. So
No.
I don't know why I was missing
Okay.
it. Hallmark.
Okay,
It was Hallmark.
Heather's saying yes.
Huh?
Are you saying yes, Heather? You have?
I have not, but I think Sandy has. But I think it was Sandy on
You
the
think
cheek.
Sandy has?
I think-
Okay.
I think Sandy kissed me on the cheek under the mistletoe.
There you go.
Okay.
Oh, well.
I had Diana on one side and Sandy on the other.
Entirely different context there. Totally different context.
We were all
Part-
single
Yeah.
friends.
Part of
Yeah.
our Christmas decorations was that we had some plastic mistletoe.
Oh, was
Okay.
it?
And,
Okay.
and my wife always made sure that,
Ah,
yeah,
Deanna, what about you?
absolutely.
Any mistletoe in your? No.
Don't need that for. I don't need that for a kiss.
Right.
Good for you. Cool. I'm taking notes, Deanna.
I want to add one thing. I looked in my closet the other day at this beautiful little black dress I bought, and I was like, I'd really like a date to the theater or, somewhere to wear
Yes.
that. And I was like, you know what? Damn it, I'm wearing that Christmas Eve service to church.
Good
'Cause
for
I look
you.
good in it.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's
Why
right.
wait for a date?
Good for you.
That's
That's
right.
right.
Or go to a symphony by yourself, or,
Yeah.
or a concert by yourself. I mean,
Yeah.
I've looked around at that myself. This year my kids will actually be here, for the holidays, but they usually aren't, and I have to be like, okay, that was fun,
Right.
and when I had a lot of fun with when the kids were little, I like
course.
little kid Christmas. I don't
Mhm.
know, when they got
Mhm.
older, it was kind of boring.
Sure.
Kind of boring now, but I guess
Yeah.
over the years I have dropped the expectations of what it's supposed to look like, what it's supposed to be, and what I'm supposed to be doing. I miss the foods. I miss family. I kind of
Sure.
miss family. Like families aren't the same anymore.
Yeah.
We've all separated and there's not this big family gathering usually like it used to be. I don't
Yeah.
know, if it was our parents that did that, our grandparents, but they kind of set that whole thing up. And,
Oftentimes.
as we get older and we're the older of them, we've changed the traditions. And I don't
Yeah.
think there's anything wrong with that. I just think that it is different.
It's an adjustment for sure.
Yeah, most definitely.
You're really rusty at this because, that set off a thing with her as like, oh my God, what am I going to wear? And
Mhm.
and
Right.
it turned out when I went to pick her up, I mean, she looked terrific, and then she told me, she said, you know what? I had to go through like 4 outfits to decide what I was going to wear, and that just took me back. That just took me back.
There's
every
fun to
day.
that.
I do that every day.
Well,
Yeah,
and,
most
and
of
you
us
know,
girls do that all the time.
and my wife had 3 closets, and then she would say, "I don't have anything to wear."
wear.
I'm like,
Yep.
there's like
Yeah.
1,200 pieces of clothing in here, but it was kind of nice just to think that someone wanted to look nice, and it was actually a really nice touch because she brought out something that belonged to a family member that had been given to her, that a type of coat, if you will, that you don't see anymore, and it just, I was like, wow, I said, you know what, you look wonderful, and it did kind of add to the evening, and so I think here's my I think as far as dating, which like I said, that's not something I know a whole lot about. I think you should aim high as far as where you're going to go or what you're going to do.
Sure.
I really like the idea of like the theater, symphony, dance. Something.
Sure.
Yeah, something that's
That
kind
is
of.
if that person likes those things. I have met, I've dated men that don't have a desire to do those things sometimes.
Sure.
Well, they might not be. I remember, my wife loved dance. I did not. She used to always try to get me to go to a dance show. I finally said yes. I went, and I was amazed.
That you liked it.
But it's not
there.
Well, here's the thing. It's actually a listening experience. It's not as much as a talking experience, if you will. I'm not saying that is going to work in all situations. And let me ask you, Deanna, would you ask somebody to go out on a date with you, or here's something we can really talk about. Would you ask a man to go out on a date with you, or is that very something that just us men do, which I think that's still pretty much a fact?
I would.
Okay.
I'm kind of to the point though that I want first dates to be nothing more than coffee. I've spent too many hours with people that they were investing time and I was, and I knew immediately there was not a connection. As a matter of fact, I've had a couple I was kind of looking for a way to go high where they wouldn't see me. They would think I just got lost or something. But I don't have any issue asking somebody out.
Well, this wasn't even actually a first date, actually.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well, for me, by nature, I'm a pretty assertive woman. So I am trying to reel that way back in and allow the man to do the pursuing. It may sound old fashioned, but
that's all right.
I had someone that's supposed to take me out this past Saturday, and I didn't hear a word, and I didn't contact him, and he reached out yesterday, and is what it is. I don't know.
Can you say that?
Approach.
Can you say that? Can you say that again? What happened? That somebody asked you out, and then.
Well, it was someone I had been out with before, and we kind of just loosely made a dinner date for Saturday, and Saturday came and went, and I didn't hear anything, and I didn't contact him. I wasn't going to, and he reached out yesterday and said, "Yeah, it was a busy week, blah blah blah," and I said, well, you should have at least contacted me since we
Seriously.
made tentative
Yeah.
plans.
Yeah.
It was a little rude.
Yeah.
Not good.
Well, I found I found my first contact, if I'm the one always making the plan, I continue to make the plan.
Right.
That's why I don't-
And that's not what I want. So I've
Yeah.
had
No.
to like step back into my feminine and let them be the masculine. But like
Yeah.
you said, some men think that that's too traditional and
Right.
they don't want to do that
About.
or whatever. But then you're not for me. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it's okay if you feel like I have to make the plans because you don't know what I like. Well, all you have to do is say, hey, you know, I'm going to make a plan to go here, go there. Is that good? I mean, yeah, it's awesome. You know,
Well,
Right.
that'd be
I'm
perfectly reasonable if you initiated something, as long as you're not the only one doing it or the one always
Right.
doing it.
right.
mean,
And
I-
so
you know,
that's happened to
yeah.
me a couple times where
Yeah.
they were like, hey, why don't you, you know, you tell me where you want to meet. And then they continued to let me. And I'm like, and then when I asked them to do it, then it was like an issue.
Instead
And
of
I
them
was like-
initiating it.
But,
Yeah.
I
but
was like, then you're
Deanna,
not for me.
this was something where I asked her, you know, you ask someone out on a date. I asked her if she would like to go to the symphony.
Yeah.
Okay. And she said yes. So, you know,
I'm not criticizing you. I'm saying
No, but-
I've had somebody come and meet me that lived in Farmville, which is an hour and a half away, and we made a date for 6 hours, and he knew immediately that I was not attracted to him, but I was not going to be ugly, so I sat through a
Mhm.
6-hour cordial date
Yeah.
to have him ask me out again for me to say,
Yeah.
oh, sorry.
That's
Coffee,
where
I
it
think,
gets
is the best scenario for me right now.
Deanna, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
At the risk of
Are
being
you going to ask her out?
we don't, well, wait a minute. I got to finish my coffee first. At the risk of being redundant and asking what may or may not be a stupid question, are you of the mind that you know pretty much off the bat whether or not you're attracted to somebody initially?
I think so. I mean, I pretty much can tell, but I also try and stay very open-minded to say, well,
Sure.
you know, let's start talking. You know,
Yeah.
maybe the initial look was not there, but
Sure.
you know, I have started talking to people, and maybe the
That's
initial
fair.
attraction wasn't there, and then
Yeah.
I love the person after that. I get to know them a little more.
Yeah. The reason I asked Deanna is because I've come to know myself well enough to know that if I'm attracted to somebody, I'll know that in less than 5 minutes.
Sure, I agree.
And it isn't, and I offer no apologies for the fact that part of it is what it is that they look like. You know, I mean, do I want to kiss this woman full on the mouth? Let me just cut straight to the chase. I mean, not right there and then, but I mean, ultimately.
Bruce and I have talked about this. Yes.
Yes, Sandy and I have talked
I
about
to
this.
Envision that. I mean,
But
you do have to. Envision
You
that.
have to, and that doesn't. That's obviously not the only thing that matters or the most important thing
No.
per se, but it is important.
Well,
It does matter, you know.
Yeah.
And the truth of the matter is that, Barry, help me out here. Men are attracted by what they see. Okay. What's that?
I think a lot of women are too.
Yeah.
Well, right.
Well,
right.
Yeah.
that's good. That's good. To
That's
know,
okay. It's not a crime.
I have a lot of guy friends that they have all the good qualities, but I'm just not physically attracted to them. So that's where they stay in the friend zone.
Well, you know, if I may, and then I really will shut up. I swear to God, my quarter's almost up. Is that it seems to me that the feeling that I'm getting from folks who I've spoken to in conversations about this very subject matter is that physical attraction and looks and physical beauty, whatever that is, that could be anything.
Right.
The feeling that I get is that it is far more important than people are comfortable with admitting to themselves or to each other for fear of appearing shallow or
Maybe
superficial.
so, yes.
Or,
Yeah.
gee, is that's all you care? No, of course it's not all that they care about. But look, when you buy a car, what color do you want it in? Oh, I don't care. The heck you don't care. You're investing in this. You want to like looking at that darn thing every single day. There's nothing wrong with that being important. There's nothing wrong with that.
And that's the part of the difficulty in online dating. I mean, I can talk to someone and have a great attraction over the phone. You know, I've enjoyed the conversation and spent hours and hours with someone on the phone.
Sure.
And I see them in person. I'm like, oh, wow, No.
Underwhelmed? Were you underwhelmed?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
fair. That's perfectly fair.
Gosh.
Especially when every man is 6 foot tall.
I'm 5'8", for the record, Your Honor. I'm 5'8", and
I
I'm
beg
the
your
guitar
pardon.
player. So don't ask me, man.
And then you go on the date and they're 5'8".
Yeah, Bruce, your height doesn't matter because you're a guitar player. Sorry. You're a
Well,
guitar.
and women taller than me don't bother me one bit either. For the record, I'm not. They might be bothered by that, and I respect that. That's completely fair. It doesn't hurt my feelings, but I can tell you, it doesn't bother me. But I'll shut up, Barry. I promise.
No, you're good. You're good, Bruce.
I think I'm going to quiet down a little too.
You're doing my work for me. So let me add a couple of things to this to make it
Go.
exactly.
I will shut up. Go ahead.
Well, first of all, as Deanna said, and I absolutely agree, is that if you want to go on a date with somebody, I recommend highly you go on a coffee date first. It's like a test drive. Before you invest your time, your effort, your money, and everything else in going on a real quote date, get together over coffee, or if it's summer, ice cream, or for a walk in the park, somewhere.
Have a conversation.
Date, but also saying daytime, public, and you arrive separately. That way you both have the option to leave when you want to. You both have other people around in case something goes wrong. And also it's daytime, so you get to see the person as they really are, because a nighttime date, you can't really tell what they look like anyway until the next day. So daytime is a good way to do that. One thing. Second thing is, and I'm going to say this very carefully when I say it this way.
I love it.
I'm all ears.
Back in the olden days, so to
Here's
speak.
the pitch.
Well, I'm going to say the way it was. Women started the initiation. They dropped their handkerchief, and the man would pick it up if you liked her. That was the way it happened mechanically. We lost that long time ago.
The chivalry.
So the fact is that it's okay for a woman to let a man know, I like you. Here's the thing. I like you. Will you take me out? Not will you go on a date with me? Wrong wording.
Okay.
Put the ball in the man's court so he takes ownership. He feels like he did it himself. But
Sure.
you initiated.
It was her idea. Got it.
Women basically have the power and the authority because, frankly, it's like they say that the men pick, but women choose. They decide.
That's right.
So women have the final say. But also means you can set things up initially where you say to the man, that you like what he's about, or you're interested to find out more about him. Would he take you out for a drink or for a coffee or for a date, whatever that is?
Sure.
And then he gets to decide that because that's the handkerchief being dropped.
Mm-hmm.
I've
We
done
need
that
to get some handkerchiefs.
well, I just will simply say, like, when we've had enough conversation, I'll say something like, I think I can let you know if you were to ask me out, I would say yes. And I leave it at that.
There you go.
That's my handkerchief. But I don't do online dating either. I figure it works really well before online dating. I'm doing it the old-fashioned way where I'll see you out and about. I'm not doing online. It's just that's ridiculous to me. So I don't participate. But I will say that one lesson I've learned that I won't do again is I won't date inside my circle.
No.
Agreed.
I agree with that too. Hey, that was the bell. Wow. Who's
That's my number eating for the day, Bell.
Heather, are you saying circle of friends or what?
Yes. Yeah. My most recent person I dated was inside, all of our circle. And the breakup makes it that much harder because when I go out, they're there.
Yeah.
More people are asking about the details because they're friends with both of you.
It's almost like a divorce where nobody exactly knows,
and people feel like you pick sides, even though neither one of us cared either way. Mm-hmm. But
100%, Heather.
That's something I won't. I did learn a lesson from that. I won't date inside my circle.
I completely concur, Heather.
I moved from here to Kansas City to get out of that situation.
Yeah.
Like when I divorced, I'll never do that again because my relationship and my friendships all were encompassing including my church family. Everything was encompassing in that one relationship.
Right.
And I am going to be wary to do that, as in dating somebody in that. But then again, once they're my partner, they're going to be, included in all that. So,
Well, Sandy,
I don't think you can get away with it. I don't think you can get out of it. I just don't see how you can.
Sandy, the same big sister that was worried about me being alone on Christmas, was teasing me once. She likes to do this because I'm her baby brother, and she feels licensed to be able to get away with that, and that's okay. I humor her. She was teasing me once about, all the pretty women that I know as a result of the bands that I play in locally in Kansas City, and I warned her. I said, well, be careful there, sis, because it's not as simple as that. I said, and you've heard this conversation, as have you, Heather. These other guys haven't heard it yet. Is that what I told her was, you got to be very careful about what you try to consider the possibility of happening, because people know each other who know each other who know each other. You are not only going to affect your acquaintance with that person directly, you're going to peripherally affect. It's like a spider web. You hit it here, it's going to reverberate over here. Oh, we can't go see that band because so and so is going to be there. Those are the consequences if something like that goes south. And it's exactly why I've told her I've walked hell and gone all the way around the outer circles, let alone the inner circles. So I got to be very careful about who I consider dating, and that's fine.
But the one is the one, I mean.
Well, there's that.
Sometimes you got to take the risk, though. I'm not going to be scared about it.
Yeah, no, I get it, and I respect that. That's a whole other conversation and set of cocktails right there.
You know what? If I could say this,
go.
I just started in the last couple weeks actually going to Cape Charles, which is where I'm supposed to be living, versus driving over to Virginia Beach. And I decided I need to get to know some people here. And Cape Charles is a small town. And I've noticed like one person, two persons, three persons, four, telling me, you really got to be careful over here because everybody knows everybody.
Yeah, that's right.
And then all of a sudden I was at a little place called AJ's, and I was going to relate a little incident that happened. And then all of a sudden I remembered, the person that I was going to mention had mentioned to me that she knows this young lady who's the bartender here. And I was like, oh my gosh, wait a minute.
Right. So we're at our time now.
Oh yeah.
And so if I would like you guys just to, give a like we've all shared our story, but if you could give advice to somebody who is dating, or if even if you could give them advice around this time on some self-care that you do, I would love that. So Heather, can we start with you? And Barry, can we end with you,
Sure.
giving some wisdom about this?
I'm on the spot now, huh? Okay.
Yeah, on the spot. So Heather, go ahead.
So for advice, I don't really have any advice because I don't. My advice is, can we all just go back to the masculine and the feminine and just go back to the way it used to be, where men were men and women were women. Let's just start there. 2, self-care. I mean, be JOMO, get from FOMO to JOMO, because FOMO is going to do nothing but make you sad.
Yeah.
It's going to make you depressed. It's going to make you lonely, all of those things. And getting to be your own best friend is the advice I would give to anybody, because if you can't be your own best friend, you really shouldn't be dating. I think you need to be there first. And if you've been with somebody and then you break up, go back to being your best friend, your own best friend again, before you get into another relationship.
Okay, Deanna.
For me, I've because I have poured myself into my faith, and my walk, I think, is stronger than it's ever been. I'm very actively involved in my church, and I just have been at a number of women's events and Christmas events at church, and I'm okay right now, though. I have healed. My home is a lot happier place since he left. My children are a lot happier, and sorry, that's my clock going off. That's my father's clock. It goes off every hour.
I like it. It's nice.
B flat.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm okay. I mean, I'm happy. My kids will be here this weekend. We're doing gingerbread houses. They're 18 and 22. And I'm happy with the time I'll be with my church family, with my kids. And I am healthy. I haven't cried in a very long time. And I'm in a very, very good place mentally and spiritually. So
Good. Awesome. Thank you. All right, Kurt.
I don't know if I have any advice. I'm thankful that I feel pretty happy about Christmas this year. You know, that's a big thing for me, and I feel like I'm ready to go out and meet people, and I'd like to just try and meet as many people as I can, and maybe a little more theater. Maybe a little more theater in my life. But
Awesome.
anyway, I just want to say Merry Christmas to everyone, and
Yes. Merry Christmas.
God bless you all.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. And Bruce.
As a precursor to any advice that I might attempt to offer, I would just say, speaking only for myself in this instance, I know myself well enough to know that I make perfectly good company by myself, but I'm also honest enough with myself to know that some of the greatest moments of my life were when I was with somebody who I felt like I belonged with, just this great sense of belonging with them, a woman, okay, in a romantic relationship. I still aspire to that happening. All of that being said, the only advice that I would offer to anybody attempting to venture down that path is get right with yourself first before you attempt to get right with anyone else. And that harkens to the books that I've read and all the advisories that I've been given by more than one therapist. So, and that's kind of where I am right now, neck deep up to my eyeballs and making that happen. So I'll get back to you when I get any closer to that.
Awesome. Thank you, Bruce. And I'm just going to put my 2 cents, and then Barry, I'm going to let you end on your 2 cents.
Thank you.
My 2 cents are, if you find yourself getting in that place, put on some music that you enjoy to uplift your spirits.
Yes.
Like Deanna said, find that place in your faith, whatever that is, to help you along with that. Call a friend, make a plan, don't stay in the house, get out of your environment if that's going to help you shift your focus. So those are the things I would say as advice. And be joyful, be grateful. When you bring gratitude into it, it changes your whole everything. So gratitude is huge. Be grateful for the friends and the people that you have in your life. And I think that just brings you to a different level anyway. So those are my 2 cents. So, and Barry.
I'm actually going to kind of repeat a couple of things that were said already by Heather and by you and by Deanna as well. Actually, by all of you, is that frankly, if you're feeling lonely, start really building the relationship with yourself. It's always where it starts, because the longest relationship you're ever going to have is with the one in the mirror. So even if you're in a relationship, frankly, you need to build that one with yourself too. So first of all, is relationship with yourself. Like you were saying, that thing about celebrating yourself, dancing, having fun is a great thing to do on the holidays as well. Frankly, this period of time can be very challenging for people because they keep thinking it should be a certain way. Well, when you quit shooting on yourself and have a good time, it's much easier. So take care of yourself, put yourself first, and have fun with your own life. Being, if you feel like you want to get more presents, buy yourself something. If you feel like you want to make a difference and feel uplifted, go serve somebody who's not as well off as you are. Go feed the homeless, or go to the church and give out meals, or go to the animal shelter and help with the animals. There's something you can do that fill your heart with joy, that don't require family members or partners. So even if you feel like you want to have a relationship and you don't have one right now, do something like that. So, and the thing about it is, because I'll just put this forward for next week, because next week is when we get to like New Year's resolutions and all that sort of stuff. If you're looking at that as being your next step to make everything happen, give yourself a break. First of all, I have a whole thing about resolutions being a waste of time anyway.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is that you may find yourself in love by Valentine's Day. You don't know. But I know for a lot of people, between Christmas, actually I think between Thanksgiving and Valentine's Day, because a lot of people go through that trauma of being lonely. Stop it. You are deserving of love for yourself first.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Very good. I know it is true. Like we look from event to event, don't we? Like from this time, like I won't have a New Year's Eve date, or I won't have a Valentine's date, then we go into that season.
Well,
let's get past this season.
Let me say a couple points on that real quickly. You know that all of these different events are created; they're not built in stone. Valentine's Day was created by Hallmark and by Cadbury's.
Of course it was.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, the history of Valentine's Day, Saint Valentine's, isn't a very good story.
That's not a happy ending.
No, it isn't.
He was murdered. In part of the Roman culture. You got murdered. So a lot of these things we celebrate, it's like, I need to have this by that point. What are we basing that on?
Yeah, right.
Okay, so the mistletoe is poison and Valentine's murdered. This is a great show.
A question before we part collectively, without holding anybody to a hard, fast answer. Do we know when the next one of these get-togethers is going to be?
I don't know, but I would say we should do it around Valentine's.
Okay.
Oh,
And you'll all be getting a message from me to be on my podcast. So keep these thoughts
Okay.
going.
Well, look at my button gear and get my get back on my reading, my therapy, and my reading and stuff.
And if we just keep pushing this message out there that it doesn't have to be what you think it's supposed to be,
Right.
what other people have constructed, exactly what Barry was saying. So,
Yeah.
I think it would be great to have a meetup then. So we will see you guys. Thank you. There were consistent people that tuned in tonight. Thank you, Nora and Savannah and all our friends, Tim and everybody. Thank you, Vincent. I appreciate you all tuning in. And if you could share this out, I would appreciate it. And thank you all for being on this panel. And Barry, thank you so much for your guidance and your wisdom. And I appreciate you all. Thank you. And have a good night, you guys.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas. Peace out.
Good night.
Good night.